Wooden Jesus was my take on 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. Like,
okay.
Okay, so that was just sort of. That was sort of my take on a Steve Gadd.
I would never have guessed that, but hearing them back to back, I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It was my homage to the master.
How long does it take for you to come up with a groove like that?
Well, you know, the song was like the original song was just like a 6/8. I was just like. Parts of the song do go to that sort of like constant groove, and a lot of Chris's songs in 6/8 and 3/4 just did have that really, just that kind of driving, downbeat kind of feel, and I wanted to give it a little bit more of a lift with that beat.
Let's talk about burying the kick drum or lifting off the head.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on that?
Well, I think I'm a high volume kick player, so I naturally dig the beater in.
Yeah.
It is less dynamic, obviously, but I think that comes from just playing gigs, playing live.
Yeah, I noticed though that when you do a go-gong, there's always the dynamics in those, which really gives it the groove, and that's really important, right?
Well, I try to make sure that the dynamics are sort of the right hand, right foot. I like to try to add a lot of sort of grace notes in between notes, just. Stuff like that,
Is there anything that the young Matt Cameron could play that you can play now, or the reverse? Are there things that you can play now that you couldn't play when you were younger?
Well, I think I have a little bit better taste now. I think I'm trying to play less.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to let the music do all the talking as opposed to a drum part or something like that. I think I had more effortless speed and power, like when I was in my mid-20s. Like there was a sort of a strength thing that was happening back then that, I didn't have to think about.
So what you make up for now is the taste.
Yeah, right. Like the playing less, the just like trying to relax more, like making every note be consistent. The intent of each note, like how, just like what your intention is when you are playing. I think that's been a really important one for me, as opposed to just going balls out and trying to get through a gig, or just trying to get through the day or something, making sure that you mean everything you play, or just making sure that there's as much meaning as you can give it, depending on whatever situation you're in.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
Do you ever find that your last floor, Tom, some gigs you could put your coffee on it? You don't feel like, I don't want to get around to that, and you just play like some 5-piece kit.
But if it's there, and you're feeling like, oh yeah, my back's feeling good tonight,
right?
I'm gonna smash that thing a couple times.
I think that's. I mean, does that change at all though? It does from gig to gig, right? Sometimes you'll play it more than other gigs.
Yeah, you're right. I try to play it. I try to get around the whole kit,
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels really fucking good.
And what is it? Are you 12, 13
Yeah, I've always
12,
been
13, 14, 16?
12, 13, 16, 18.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a 14 by 24, yeah, this is the Yamaha Oak Custom with the maple wood hoops that they made for me in 2008, I believe it was.
Okay, so
Incredible
I have a
drums.
theory, Matt, that
Yes.
I've always felt that 14-inch depth kick drums always sound the best,
Yeah.
no matter how big they are.
Right.
And do you have a theory on that?
Well, that was the old Ludwig size
Yeah.
in their rock kits that they used to make in the 60s and 70s. And for me, just having like, I mean, I have muffling inside the drum, but for the traditional like wide open felt strip style
Yep.
tuning that Bonham did,
Yeah.
and Louis Bellson, the kind of Buddy Rich sound where it is a little bit tighter and
Yeah.
and there's more of a bounce. That's where the 14 completely rules.
Yeah.
With mine, I still kind of have a traditional rock sound, but it's a quicker note, I mean,
Because the air goes through it quicker.
Yeah, so it's a lot quicker punch. It's a lot louder on stage, and I just like the way it looks and the way it records.
The muffling of your kick drum.
Yes.
Is it touching both heads?
I have one of these pillows that touches both sides. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think for me, like just playing gigs, the sound man and I are a little more comfortable with this sort of setup that's like really quick, efficient, works great every time.
Yep.
If I'm in the studio, I will definitely, experiment with more kind of wide open tunings and the felt strip kind of philosophy that we were talking about earlier.
Are there any Soundgarden songs that you use double-headed kick drums?
Ooh.
There has to be one.
Ooh. Good question. I think I always had a hole in the front of every SG recording.
Okay.
But let me get back to you on that. Oh, there was some B-side stuff. No. Okay. Yeah. No, on the main recordings. No. Some of the B-side stuff. Yes.
Did you ever have the front head completely off for anything?
Oh, on Louder Than Love, Terry Date liked he wanted me to take off the front kick drum head, and I did. And then he proceeded to put a cinder block into my Remo drum set for that recording. I was, you're putting a what and where? But hey, came out good. He was going for a really kind of punchy, just like all attack kind of kick drum sound. That didn't. I think it didn't always fit the timbre of that record. Mm-hmm. But that was another situation where I was sort of that was my first major label, our first major label recording. So, but that was sort of an extreme example of like there being no tone and just pure muffle. So, I also think it's up to the individual player too. Like what feels comfortable. I mean, for me, it's always really important to make sure my foot is sort of leading the pack. And I kind of do that just by sort of digging in and informing where everything else goes,
How do you want to be remembered as a drummer, or do you want to be remembered through the records you played on, or does it even matter to you?
Well, I mean, I feel really fortunate to have been a part of so many really cool records, a great music scene. I feel really lucky to to still be doing it. I don't know. I guess like as a musician, I think like I've always tried to be a complete musician as well as a drummer. So maybe that would be one thing I'm trying to not consciously like I'm going to do this kind of thing, but it's just sort of happened that way. So maybe that.